by that, but take a secret rare comic, 125 editions, 250 editions. Even for those 300 new users, there's not enough of those, right? So if you pick out certain collectibles or the unannounced drops with 1,000 editions for the entire comic to read, well, all the 300 new users, if they knew something about it, that's already 700 left for the rest of the I don't know what, 10, 20, or 30,000 monthly active users. So it is quite a bit, a couple of hundred users in this bear market.
Yeah, I mean that's like 5% roughly. If it's 300, it'd be like 5%, over 5% of like the active monthly users. We've got a couple of questions from Stan. He says, is Todd McFarlane serious competition for Vivi? And I personally don't think it is. I think because it's just limited to DC, right? And it's just sort of rehashing what Vivi's already done at the moment.
Yeah, I think that they will be a player because right now they're limited to DC, but Trevor has said that they have a lot more licenses lined up. And Todd McFarlane has been in the physical collectible space for so long. He has so many relationships and partnerships, and he's partnered with, sports leagues, and he's got anime. He's got that Demon Slayer on there right now. So I do think that
he has Demon Slayer.
Yeah, they have Demon Slayer.
Oh, that's sick.
The physicals.
Ah, okay.
So you know that he's got these relationships between his relationships and the way that they're going about things. I think that they will be a big player in the space.
What I like about his methodology, right, is he would rather put stuff out at a value pricing, and I like that overall strategy of put things out, but at a value pricing means not say he's going to release 3,000 editions. Sometimes as a project, they're balancing what's the most we can sell this for and sell out. Whereas Todd McFarlane's more like, you know what, let's price him at $25. We could sell him for more. And what I like about that is it leaves value for the people that believe in him, right? And so he did that with his toys. He's doing that with his collectibles. I like that mentality, and I think it'll make his stuff hot. Plus, he does, like you mentioned, have the relationships. That'll be a big deal.
I think the other advantage that they have is that they don't rely on the digital side of things to bring in all their revenue, because he has a platform already that's making a ton of money, right? The physical side of things. So they don't need to necessarily sell a certain amount of digitals. If they sell them, great. If they don't, not a big deal, because he still has a successful physical brand.
And that also makes them very in a good spot for fidgetals in the future, because they already have the good physical side, and they don't rely on external artists to put out good physicals to make it happen. As Vivi might have a little bit more problems to get into that market.
It's a real natural fit for their phygital business. Yeah. They have the a Black Adam physical bust that they're selling for $20, and if you buy it, you get the digital, and it's there are 3 variations of the digital, 3 different levels of rarity. But for $20, you buy the physical, you get the digital. You can then sell the physical on eBay or whatever it is, and basically have the digital for free.
I think it's really good that there's competition for Vivi. I think if you guys look at any big sort of industry, there's usually 2 big players, right? There's it depends. Like in Australia here, we've got sort of like McDonald's, and then we've got Hungry Jack's, and we've got BP service station, and we've got Shell service station, and they sort of both help each other, and it's really good that they are, a big industry brings more people in, so it's good to have competition, because so far Vivi doesn't have any competition, right? This is the closest we've come to it so far, and we had other things before it, but they went off. Thank you, Bill Gardner. Woo! Secret Rare Stanley on the dot. Nice.
Definitely, competition is huge, right? It drives, like I tweeted the other day, you always run faster when someone's running behind you, right? And it just gives you that push. And I think all businesses thrive off of healthy competition.
They always hate it, but it's the hate it that's good for them, right? Because it does push them harder, faster. They get more creative. It unlocks This, I was watching while I was at the gym. They had on like the 1980s action figure war between Kenner and Mattel, right? And making the He-Man figures. And then like one of them had like Return of the Jedi, like the Star Wars stuff. But then they ran out of Star Wars movies, right? They weren't going to make any more. And they're like, how do we pivot? Oh my gosh, do we just like coast out of existence, or what do we do? And so they had to get creative and continue to push them with the action figure wars of the 80s and into the 90s. And it was fascinating to see a lot of the business stuff going on behind it.
What was that? What was that?
Kind of stuff. It was, I don't remember what it was called. It was like the action figure wars or something. And it was on the gym, and it was just playing, and I couldn't hear it, but it did have what they were saying typed out. And I was like, oh, this is a series I have to find and watch, because that is fascinating. The consultant side of me loves to understand the business aspects of what decisions came together and what risks that they were taking and what ones they decided to go with and what worked out and what didn't.
Yeah, and what's super interesting. Sorry, I got some feedback. But anyways, what's super interesting, in my opinion, is that many people in the market always are claiming that McFarlane Toys is coming in and Vivi will die because of that, right? And then this and that player is coming in. If you look at history of big brands, almost no brand has ever been crushed by their competition. It doesn't even need to be two players. There are, as I outlined in the last, I think, Ecomi-Verse or in one stream, is in Germany, we have 5 of the biggest car manufacturers. They are all living side by side, working the market. No one has been able to crush the other. BMW has not been able to crush Mercedes or Audi or something like that. But if you see what really destroyed a brand in the past was disruptive innovation. So, for example, we had this video, like DVD stores here that were called Video Buster. And when Netflix and all the other streamers came around, they just got destroyed, but not by the competitors that were on the other. The competitor also got destroyed by the disruptive movement. The same for, I think, Kodak, and only the ones that pivoted their business model, like Canon and Nikon, for the specific cameras, they didn't get destroyed by the camera movement in the smartphones. So everyone who pivoted to another segment survived. So I think if ever McFarlane Toys comes into the market and poses competition, that's good. Tide raises all ships and so on. However, if we one day, and we are very early, but if we one day see a disruptive innovation that is threatening this type of digital collectibles, then that is time to worry about Vivi, in my opinion.
We have some really good questions here. I just want to quickly go through some of these. Who knows about this? Can they bring IP on?
They can. Yeah, Trevor has said that they have a lot of partnerships that will be announced in the coming.
And here's an interesting one. Crazy Dan says it's been a total failure and it's been really difficult to get the app going. And I've heard that from a bunch of different people, that they've struggled to do the drops on McFarlane Toys.
So he does have 2 brands. There is a conflict there. So there's certain things, certain IP that will not release through his McFarlane Toys side. That's why his site has 2 sides to it. So the other stuff he can still release through the other side of his app, and I forget what it's called. But
okay, so that might be a little
there
bit
is some
tricky.
IP conflict. That was good insight. And they will not release some of them through McFarlane Toys, but they will release through the other side. So he doesn't care.
And the last good question I want to answer was by Stan. We mentioned Trevor. Is he the X factor because he has insider VV information? What do you guys think?
I think he has the benefit of Vivi's hindsight, right? So Vivi has now been in this business for a couple of years, and him being a part of it, and all of us in the community, he knows what the community wants, and he knows what the user base wants, and they're specifically targeting those things, right? They're coming out the gate with an XP reward system that mirrors basically the VVMC Master Collectors Program. They have interoperability and self-custody and all these things. So he knows what the VV users want, and he's able to leverage that.
Yeah, I can only add to that. I think Trevor is extremely competent. He has very big insights into the early days of Vivi, and we have seen the quality of the drops when he was there. So yeah, for sure, he is. I think he's a power in that field. Yeah.
We've got a ton more questions here. Hey, this is just a fun fact that Netflix could have been bought by Blockbuster for $50 million. That's what's Netflix worth now? Is it in the hundreds of billions?
Yeah, they were at $1 trillion. Didn't they touch $1 trillion during the bull run? Netflix.
Probably. Yeah, it absolutely went crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that high now.
No, it's not.
Massive pullback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But mistake by Blockbuster tried to go digital, but it was too late. Netflix had already cornered that market.
Yeah, Netflix had some really hairy early days. Like if you watch the history of Netflix, there were a lot of times they weren't going to make it. And then they did. And so this is what a lot of people don't realize about these early days and how hard they are and how lean or scary sometimes they are. And people are like, oh my gosh, Vivi is dead. And they've actually passed the point that they're at that risk. But 3 years ago, they were massively at that risk point. They were trying to get their app done. They're like, oh my gosh, and will it work? And they got some of the community members. And if you think FUD is bad now, imagine what FUD was 3 years ago when the price was like down 95% from where it is now. And they didn't know if it would ever pump. The community members didn't know, and they hoped. And all they had was Batman Black and White and a few other licenses, right? And for the Vivi app, and they launched the Vivi app and some things, and guess what? The Ecomi price didn't take off when that happened. And then later in March, or February, Ecomi's price went crazy. But then the collectibles were still just sitting there on the app. You could buy the Todd McFarlane Batman all the way through April, maybe even to May, just sitting there on the app for 80 gems. And so, those were early days. Now we're way past the early days. We're in the mid stage. They've got massive revenues. They have a community. All these things are happening good for them. And when people tell me Omi is dead, it just tells me the person doesn't know what they're talking about. And that's okay. A lot of people come into this space and think they know more than they do. They're just new. They'll learn if they stick around, and most of them won't. But if they stick around, they'll learn over time how much they didn't know when they were new.
Just on the back of that, Crypto Rain, Philip B has basically saying that he hopes that after this big San Diego Comic-Con, they have some Ecomi news, because we need some effort put towards Ecomi. Do you guys think we're going to get anything?
My hopes, I don't know. My hopes aren't up because it takes so long on things, but eventually it'll come. It's not a matter of if, it's when. So I just don't I don't anticipate it, because then I don't want to get my hopes up and then be.
Yeah, which is smart. Sometimes it's expectations that blow us out. Our expectations are, we think too much can happen in the short term. In the long term, all these things come to fruition, but our expectations get blown out. And then we leave the community, we sell everything. And then we realize, stupid mistake. And this kind of stuff happens all the time, especially people that are newer to investing, newer to investment cycles, newer to understanding business cycles, and they just don't know how to have proper expectations yet. And they're hearing from other people all the FUD, and they think those people must know what they're talking about. And those people don't, because there's no barriers to entry into the crypto space and the crypto community. All you have to do is have a Twitter account. All you have to do is be able to post comments on YouTube videos, and you can make it sound like you know what you're talking about. And some people do, and some people don't. And when you're brand new, it's hard to tell who knows what they're talking about and who doesn't. Because sometimes the loudest voices, you're like, oh, they're so loud, they must know what they're talking about. And they're just loud. A lot of times they don't know at all what they're talking about. They have no business inside experience, no tech development experience, nothing. They're just loud with their voices.
Absolutely. For me, when I came into the market, I also didn't know. I just watched a couple of opinions, but I think independently on what you hear, just to get that out is doing something is still good, even if you lose a bunch of money in the beginning. Just if you're doing something, you really will start learning. For at least for me, that was the way, because I think before I bought my first stocks, I was always like playing around with the not real money account, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so good, and I don't know what, but it wasn't real money, and it wasn't. And in the very beginning of buying the first stocks, 200 euros in the stocks seemed a crazy amount to me. It's like, it's nothing compared to what I put into crypto afterwards or into VV NFTs, right? But I was always like thinking that I know something about stocks, and then when I put my first 200 euros in, I was like constantly looking at the price, and price obviously didn't move. If you put it into perspective with crypto, it didn't move an inch, right? But yeah, suddenly €5 up and down was crazy, and then after a while, you just don't look at it anymore. The swings don't disturb you anymore. You start looking at fundamentals, longer terms. Then you get into crypto and you learn in a bull market how harsh a bear market can be afterwards, right? So yeah, and I think, but if you don't have that money in, and that's the conclusion of this, if you don't have that money in, you will never know how that feels and never draw these conclusions. And then when someone says something theoretical like this, it just doesn't have the same effect than getting wrecked on a specific coin or stock or something else. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. Lord of the Realm says, glad I found you early on, Rain, to teach me about the market cycles. Bear market didn't scare me away like it did all my friends. It was crazy to me, and I knew about cycles from 2 decades of real estate experience. The cycle's much longer in real estate, but the same psychological processes happen when real estate is massively on discount, like it was throughout much of the United States and Canada in 2010. Nobody wants to hear about real estate. Nobody wants to invest in it. Prices were massively down, and people like Graham Stephan, who was 18, got started buying real estate in that market, took the full ride up, and made millions and millions of dollars just in one cycle because he bought at the absolute bottom. Well, we're in one of those bottoms in the crypto cycle. And what's unfortunate is a lot of the people that are here now, they came in at the top before because that's what got them to finally take action. And they've ridden some of this down. Although the people like you that are still around right now, you're the smart ones. Because all the people I know that made it rich from crypto, they came in 2017. And I know one that came in 2013. And he's massively rich. But what happened was they came in during a pump. They got blown out, but they were smart enough to stick around and then dollar cost average like crazy during the bear market. And that's who I know that is super rich. They don't even trade. Like, actually, I don't know hardly anyone that's made massive money trading every day in crypto. Like, that isn't what does it. It's taking smart positions and waiting to let it play out. And sometimes some of those projects might even fail. But if you're diversifying, some of them can play out massively well. And that's what created life-changing wealth for a bunch of people I know. And they weren't traders. They didn't learn charting. They literally just would look deeper at the businesses behind it, buy them when they were massively flooded, like what Ecomi's been going through. And then they buy and hold and wait till the whole market shifts. And then it goes absolutely crazy. If it doesn't fail first, it goes massively up, the kind of gains that you can't get anywhere but crypto. And then sell. And like, you know, I know several people that became millionaires, multimillionaires in one cycle that way. What's going to be fun is to see what they do over the second cycle now. I do know somebody that came in 2013. He's literally like 29 or 30, maybe 31 now, and he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars back in 2021. I don't even know what he's going to be worth in 2020, like this next bull run. It'll be crazy, but he'll probably be a billionaire at like the age of like 32-ish or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Crazy.
2 key things there. One was diversification, right? A little bit of diversification, especially when you're dealing with some smaller coins that are a little more risky. And then selling is key in crypto because of its cyclical nature and the 95% dump offs.
That was one of my biggest mistakes, not taking profits when it was time to take profits. When you see a small VV vault rising up to $50,000 and you think it can 5x from there, not locking in any profits is, in hindsight, weird, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah, I locked in some profits. I would have locked in more, but I was too emotionally connected to the digital collectibles, right? I finally did put one of my Spider-Man secret rares up on the market at 96,000 gems, I think. And that was just so hard for me. And it was just right above the floor, and it didn't sell. But I did sell some Todd McFarlane's and some other things. I sold the Captain America for like 4,500 gems. And got some other things. I sold a bunch of Marvel #1s that I'd picked up for like $3. And we're selling those for 600 and 700 gems a piece. So did I take a lot? Now my vault value went to like almost 700,000. And I maybe took like 50,000 in profits out, but I was like, well, I'm content to wait on a lot of this stuff because though it's nice now, it'll be really nice in the future. But I did take some out.
Yeah. What Mark says in the comments is also true. It's that they didn't have cash out. So even if a lot of people, even if they did sell, they ended up just putting it back in, thinking that they bought the dip that kept on dipping.
Yeah, I think I bought Rain. I might have bought your Captain America secret rare because I got one for about 4,500. So that's about right.
It'll be really fun when we can see the history on these things, right? Because then you can see who once owned them.
You still invited him on?
Yeah. I think it's worth like 700 right now. I haven't checked for a while.
We didn't know each other back then, or you could have messaged me and be like, "Do you think this is a good buy at these prices?" I would have been like, "Very questionable. I can't tell where the top is, but questionable."
Yeah, but that $4,500 was actually only $50 because I bought on the drop. I got the Pride. The gold lady.
Pride.
Yes, Cleopatra. That one, I think it was.
Oh, the Cleopatra one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I sold it for 5,000. So
nice. So really, you just paid 50.
Is that 100x? No, yeah, I think it's 100x. $50 into 5,000.
Yeah.
Nice return. Wrote it back down. All good. It's part of the game.
We'll have another period like that, and now you recognize the pattern, right? And people will say you're crazy to be taking profits, and that's exactly what you want to be hearing. Is you're crazy. That tells you when you're over the target. When right now you're buying and people tell you you're stupid and they use these terms like, oh my gosh, Randy is over leveraged. Randy has no leverage. He didn't borrow anything to buy that. What do you mean he's over leveraged? That's not even the right term. That's usually a good sign. If you had been buying real estate in 2010, which was the bottom of the real estate market across a lot of the US and Canada, you know what people would have told you? You were stupid. It's just going to keep going down for forever. It's horrible. Real estate's dead. It's never going to come back. That's exactly the kind of stuff you want to be hearing. Literally, if you want mediocre results, listen to mediocre advice like that. And you want exceptional results, then listen to the people that have had exceptional results. Ignore everyone else. Well,
great advice.
I mean, not completely, right? Because, but like, yeah.
I think it's good taking the information, but
if you're listening to somebody and they, you know, if you buy into their opinions, you buy into their lifestyle, and you think, well, okay, what is this person accomplishing? What do they understand? What do they know? Right. So it's usually your broke friends that don't know anything that talk you out of like staying in VV at the bottom. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely fair. I think it's just when you're putting out opinions, it depends if you are giving advice on where to buy and where to sell. And if you do that as a broke person, that is one thing. The other thing is like if you are giving insight into some specific niche that you know, you don't have to be a millionaire to know about that niche. I think that's you should differentiate just where this knowledge is coming from. Is that person an expert? Does that person have an experience in a specific field? And yes, for sure, it's always good to have someone who's not broke to give you advice about how to make money in that sense. Yeah.
And it's somewhat hard because somebody who might be doing exactly the right things and telling you the right things might not be rich yet, but they will be. So think if you had met Graham Stephan in 2011 and he's this young 18-and-a-half-year-old and he didn't have his YouTube channel yet. And he's like, hey, you need to be buying real estate. It's going to be awesome. He would have been exactly right. He would have had no social proof or no social evidence to show. But then it played out. He was exactly right. So there are some people that are on track. They realize what's going on here. And they will say the right things because they're looking at the right people to learn what to do themselves. And so they don't have the success yet, but they will. And then the credibility will be there too. That's like, okay, wow, yeah, you know, Jordan just pulled up in his Lamborghini, and yeah, like
Oh man.
and that's his 7th $200,000 car, you know.
It'll be a Tesla Roadster when they eventually make it one day.
I might get one of their trucks, right? When the truck eventually comes out.
Cybertruck. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
If Omi does what it's supposed to be, Jordan will be so extremely wealthy. It will be. I don't know if you still host Ecomi-Verse even if Omi goes to like, I don't know, 50 cents.
Yeah, probably. Why not? Because then I can like, I'll have to have like a giant studio or something just for fun.
Yeah.
So you can see all the cool shit in the background. Be like, told you. It'd be a big sign saying "I told you so" in neon. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. Congratulations, Patient Hold on 3,000 subscribers.
Good job.
really
Congrats.
That's
To
awesome.
say it with Jordan's voice is 3,000 subscribers.
Yes, I like that.
It's like
3,000
Jordan,
subscribers.
200 million Omi.
Yep, that's right.
Good
Oh, we
job.
So
never
I still got my 200 million Omi, guys. I have not sold a single Omi this
Yeah,
year.
but thank you.
I sold a little bit last year to buy
Thank
more.
you.
It's hard to get, especially in this bear market. The subscribers were coming, you know, hot and heavy during the bull market.
Yeah.
During a bear market, you have to scratch and claw for them. So,
Oh
good
yeah,
job.
I've never known running this channel during a bull market. I've scraped slowly over time. With the whole bear market is when I started.
The bull market's fun because you get like 150 subs on a video. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, so
That's nuts.
it is a little slow, but
Yeah,
It's
Jordan, I
crazy. The scammers come out in mass effect, right? And every video
Oh.
ends up having like 50 million scam messages, and it's just overwhelming.
that's
trying
right. I
to keep
forgot
up
about
with
those.
everything.
I
Yeah,
haven't seen a scam message in a while on YouTube. Did they clean that up, or is it the bear market?
I have
think
never
it's the
seen
bear
one. I think
market.
in my chat.
What's that?
I think generally the people that are still around in crypto are wiser, so they weren't getting a return on investment. But bring on the bull market when you have these brand new people that don't know any better, and they're like, "Hey, look in the comments. This guy says if I call this WhatsApp number, he's going to teach me how to make $10,000 a day. Sounds perfect."
Oh man, it's gonna be a fun time. I can't wait for the next bull run. Let's go.
Jordan, the subscribers, I think from what I've seen, so for example, I think Randy, Cavell, Taps Trades, Crypto Rain, you're also one of them that have been around before. So you have been profiting in that bull run from that craze with subscriber counts. I have started my channel after the golden moments drop, so I think probably like 3 months before the bull run really ended for Vivi, somehow like that, and I profited from that, getting fast to 1,000 subs. But after 1,000 subs, it was such a grind to just get another 100 or so, and then it got worse and worse, and there were weeks and months where you just didn't get subscribers, right? And yeah, so I am extremely happy, obviously, about achieving 3,000 now. It got put into perspective quickly, but I think it's like crypto. The subscribers, they will like 10x or something when the bull market is on. Yeah.
I don't know how you say that name, but someone asks, "Will Omi miss the bull run?"
I made a video about it. I don't think so. I think, look, my thinking is you need to be prepared for all eventualities. And if they were totally shit the bed on their tech side and they didn't get any utility out, I think Omi could underperform. But I think that they'll get enough out that they won't miss it.
They are in position because of having the collectibles that they do. As much as people say there's no utility to 95% of the projects out there. Tell me the utility of Dogecoin. And yet, is Dogecoin going to miss the bull run? No. So people have these expectations that are just offline. Now, I think we'll get utility soon, and that utility is going to amplify everything. But say, for whatever reason, there's no utility by the time the bull run comes, it won't matter. Because
I don't know.
The
So I
best
disagree a little.
property in the world. and that will matter, and people will be coming in because probably the collectibles will be going crazy, and people will say, and I think the token's been so suppressed for so long that you can only hold that underwater for a while, and then it starts going up, and then people won't care that there's no utility. They will just FOMO in. Think about the utility of Pepe coin. Think about the utility of most of the crypto projects out there that don't have any utility yet.
Yeah, I think that Pepe and Doge, they're a totally different category, right? They're meme coins, and that's their utilities, their memeability, and it's all community based. I think Omi needs some utility. That not every coin hits a new all-time high in a new cycle, and last cycle's winners aren't always next cycle's winners. And last cycle Omi performed the best, right? If you go by percentages. If you look at year to date, Omi's down, 20, 30%. Everything else is up 30 to 50%. And not to say that that's a predictor of the future, but I do think that the narrative of Omi, well, it'll be a terrible narrative if they don't have any utility. I think that the FUD will rise to all new levels if they can't execute by the start of the bull run or in that bull run. Not saying that's going to happen. I think that they will, but those are my thoughts.
Yeah, a couple things on the utility, because I think our discussion on whether it makes any sense, my experience, it won't make it. Sure, it won't go as high as it would have. It's still going to do phenomenally well, but I don't see why utility isn't here in a number of months, because one of the things they need to roll out before they could roll out the bronze tickets was they need to roll out the wait list. What are we seeing? The wait list. Mm-hmm. So that is a major milestone, right? Or what is it? The queue that you go in, is it the wait list that you?
Yeah, the wait list. Yeah.
And they needed to do that so that then you could increase your chances by buying the bronze tickets. And so that is a major milestone that's getting knocked out in order for us to get there. So I'm seeing the right steps be taken, that we're heading that way. And so unless the bull market comes in like 2 months, I don't see why we won't have the utility start to flow. And when that utility starts to flow, imagine how much people would have paid in bronze tickets to increase their chance of getting the Iron Man drop, or the Hulk comic book drop, or some of these other bigger drops that everybody wants.
Yeah, I agree.
I would also see this more on the side, like Danny said it before. What's most shocking to me, or what was most shocking to me, was the non-reaction of the Ecomi token to the XRP lawsuit win or partial win, while other coins reacted with 20, 30, 50, 60, and somewhat pumps. Where I would have expected that people execute bigger by purchase orders. We have seen one mega wick up, but that got immediately dumped on, so that it ended up right where it was before. But other than that, we didn't see any reaction out of the token. And I would expect from something that is supposed to be doing good, even without utility in the next bull run, that it also reacts to news like this. And yeah, that's at least a little bit of a concern to me. But obviously, with every utility announcement, no matter how small, this will all go away. Only if there's nothing after the halving, then there is a problem.
And I think that even if they deliver one or two small things on the Omi utility side, it restores that trust, right? So they don't need the full utility. They just need to signal to people that we care about this token. We don't only care about VV, because that's kind of like a narrative that's formed. They don't care about the token side of things. So, yeah, I agree with that. What's going on there, Jordan? You're trying to figure out, should we wear a hat, take it off?
Yeah, no, it's bothering me. It's bothering me. It's giving me issues.
Your hair looks good.
Thank you.
He's on the other side of the earth, right? So it's winter?
Yeah, it's freezing. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Okay.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's how cold is it, Jordan?
Like my office was like 6 degrees, and I checked the heater on, so it's not that cold now. I got.
Okay.
Let's see if we can see this.
So you're still in crypto winter. That explains a lot.
I got a hit up there.
To get your 200 million OMI out of crypto winter, that's why we don't see any movement.
I'm like in my garage, but I've still got a proper heater I got installed. We have a very interesting comment here. I actually thought about selling the house to buy the dip, but the wife won't let me. So
yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh my
It's
God.
tempting, right? Because the payout could be huge, and say it just goes 10x. I mean, in most things, that's absolutely gigantic type of return. And in crypto,
I got to sell my aircon by the dip.
yeah, it's not as big of a deal. Just going 10x, it's like, man, you're massively disappointed. I thought it would do more.
Yeah, look, even if it did like a 3x, that would like I could go and buy another house like my house for the exact same amount of money.
Yeah, the
And I have
only
no
concern
mortgage.
for me,
Yeah.
the only red flag for me, Jordan sells his car, and then he gets everyone
Yeah.
excited.
I know people are watching for that. I'm not selling the Tesla. Never.
Tell them
In fact,
you're
I'll
selling the car, and then sell the toy car.
Yeah, yeah. If you see my models disappear, there's a problem. I'll be taking my car to the racetrack for the 3rd time, probably end of the year.
So
So driving my Tesla on the racetrack is so much fun. I got my helmet. Let me get my helmet. It's like show and tell. Oh man,
Oh yeah. Well,
it's huge.
it's not a pretty helmet, but it's a functional one.
you look great.
That's right. It's the cheapest
That
helmet you
looks
can
awesome.
get. That's Australian standards for safety. Because you don't need a helmet in a car, right? The car's a giant helmet.
You might need a helmet.
And you guys know Teslas are the safest cars in the world, right? And the Tesla Model 3 is insanely strong. Elon Musk reckons you can stack 10 of them on top of each other.
He also said
And-
that the windows of the truck were shatterproof.
Well, they
Them
were
shit
technically, they still survived, right? They never actually came apart. So if someone shot bullets at you and didn't go through, you'd be happy. Right?
Yeah, that's
So
true.
but
I got
that was-
the Model 3. I love it.
Yeah, well, yeah, you got the Model 3. That's right.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a video of a giant tree falling a Model 3 while it's driving. It bounces off the back of it. Any other car would have been crushed, and the people inside would have been killed. It's nuts. We're talking like one of those giant forest trees. So that's how strong it is.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Love this guy.
He's making them to be able to withstand Mars climate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna fly some of the Teslas to Mars. Have you guys seen all the funny Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, like, I don't know, you call them memes and stuff? There's just so
Yeah.
many going around.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. He called
guys-
him cuck.
Do you guys think they'll have a cage fight? Because that would be like insane.
I hope
be
not.
so
I think Elon gets his ass kicked. He doesn't seem
That would
like
be the biggest fight ever, though.
he'll pull like a hamstring right off the bat.
Elon Musk
Elon
beat a world wrestling sumo wrestler one time. He hurt his back from it though.
He did?
Yeah, he got him off the mat. He picked up a giant sumo. Elon Musk is huge. He's quite tall.
Is
But
he? How
he
big
picked
is
up a sumo and pushed him off the mat on a birthday. On his 50th birthday or something.
Oh man. But Elon Musk is just bored all the time, right? I mean, now he changed the logo of Twitter just because he's bored, probably.
I don't know if he has time to be bored, man. He works like 120 hours a week. That's I read I've got a book on him, like a what do you call, like a life story book. And man, he's nuts. He has things like every second of the day is planned. Even time with his kids, he's like actually working on his phone and talking to them. Like he doesn't stop, man. There's no off switch on Elon Musk.
Yeah.
He is super driven. It's not even about money. It's about, I don't know, legacy and just drive to create, right? Because he has all the money. He's one of the richest people in the world. He's just a driven man.
We're gonna say people talking about Reese dumping. Anyone know if he sold any more? I don't know. It's never been confirmed anyway.
Well,
But-
yeah, no, I mean, they posted a history of him selling. My thoughts on it are, I mean, I think that any team member that owns Omi, they're free to take profits. I think after the token lockup. I think that as the token manager, it should be done. There should be some protocols in place that doesn't leave room for speculation, so that you can't be accused of like pumping and dumping. And I don't know. I didn't scrutinize the timelines. They say that it's time to, his the news events, and I haven't scrutinized it closely. I will say that it's, a little bad optics, I guess, and in the least, and there should definitely be protocols in place to give token holders faith and trust.
Yeah. Proxy that opinion. I think it's a little bit, although completely, or as far as I can see, not 100% confirmed. Some evidence here and there. I don't know if there is a 100% confirmation or not, because I'm not too deep into that one. But no matter what, it's just, if you are responsible for the token, as Danny said, then you should have specific rules that you shouldn't do that. And if you are doing that, you shouldn't get caught. That is at least a thing, because that damages community overall. But other than that, also, if you are putting out false, if it was the case that you're creating excitement and selling on the other side, that is just too much, right? If you like have a bot do random sales across like every 3 days, no matter if price is up or down, I would see it a little bit differently. But yeah.
I just want to shout out to there's a comment here from Spartan11. He's asking if there's no new users, but if he watched the start of our show, we actually talked about getting a bunch of 200 or 300 new users for VV. So I think he's a bit wrong there. That's all.
So my thoughts on Reese is some people are really hung up on this, and it's okay. Like, this happens. Like, so what I'm saying happens is that people get hung up on something that just irks them. And this doesn't really affect me much, because my understanding, if he did sell some, it was after this public news was announced to everyone. And so it's not like he had insider information and he was like selling before all that happened. He waited till publicly available news. And it's like, what do you expect from a team member that has something? We don't know if he needed to get a down payment for a house. We don't know what financial conditions he has. Setting the expectations that he can never sell, or you're going to be angry with him, doesn't make sense to me. And focusing on that so much is kind of like besides the point. My question is VV going to survive? Well, they're making choices that are freaking amazing. You all saw that they just signed something with Alibaba, right? Like, do you realize how big that is? Like, we're not in China, so we don't think about it, but that side of the world, Alibaba, is a gigantic deal. They signed, I don't know what the implications for them sitting down and signing something together. I know they don't do that often, though. So it makes me wonder, what is going on over there? That's freaking exciting to me. That's the kind of future, the kind of decisions I want to see them be taking. I don't care that some member sold some of their tokens that they had purchased themselves. I'm looking at, are they going the right directions? Is the business making good decisions? Is that happening and coming together? And I'm like freaking like a kid in a candy store that gets told in 30 minutes or sometime in the near future, you can have as much candy as you want. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, cool. Because the right things are setting up for me to have a super successful investment in this. Now, I don't know for sure if it's going to work out, but I'm seeing all the right things come into place that they are going to be able to keep their number one position as this idea of digital collectibles goes worldwide. In fact, they're getting the languages set up and whatever happened with Alibaba and like all that. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, yes. So the people that are fixated on that, maybe it's just time that they sell, and maybe they're not ready for this big boy pond, because it is a big boy pond. And it helped that I studied business, and then I went to work in business consulting, and then I took 20 years of investing in real estate to realize that kind of stuff is just like complaining about whether your shoes are tied or not. And I'm trying to look forward to the bigger picture, and that has like almost nothing to do with the bigger picture. if I felt like he was being super deceitful there, it would hurt what I thought about the team. I would still be looking at the bigger picture of, are they making the right agreements to secure a future to where the collectibles can do well and possibly the token do well? And, somebody brought up in the comments about, are they talking about the OMI token at the Comic-Con? And they're not going to hardly talk about the OMI token at all. Why? Because the regulatory scrutiny from the US is really, really high right now. So they're smart not to be bringing up a lot, to line up this utility, but you don't want the VV side talking about the OMI token all the time. You don't want them actually talking about it at all. Why? So they just stay off the regulators' radar, because it's kind of like, when machine gun is actively firing, where you're at, you don't walk out that door, you don't pop your head up. And so you don't want to be the one that gets hit by those bullets. And for whatever reason, the US SEC has decided they're anti-crypto, and they're trying to do as much damage to as many projects as they can. And even if you eventually win your lawsuit, they're just trying to stay out of the position where they don't have to deal with that. And why wouldn't they? So why do you want them talking about Ecomi? I would rather them forego that risk and keep their head down while the bullets are firing and continue lining up everything, and roll out the utility related to the bronze tickets and everything. Cool. So that you can use the OMI tokens to buy the bronze tickets. Amazing. I don't think that puts them in regulatory problems. And the XRP case further means they're probably not going to be a security with them exchanging on tokens. They didn't allow any US investors to buy at their pre-sale. So as long as, people can just buy on exchanges and buy the OMI token, it's not then a security, they should be clear, as long as they don't paint a target on their back. And they would paint a target on their back if the VV team was always talking about the OMI token. So please don't do that, VV team. And clearly they already get it. Some of the audience people don't get it yet. And I understand, because, they don't think about US security laws because they're new to this space. And you're always bad before you're good. You're always new before you're a veteran. And so you just push through being new, and being new sucks a little bit, but you're in the right place to be learning, be getting good at this, and you're here at the right time. So that tells me you're smart to be here. So you got a lot going for you.
I think that they didn't talk about the OMI token because there's nothing to talk about at the Comic-Con. So that's the first and foremost reason. Maybe because of security or not, but the first reason is, I think, that there's nothing, because why would you would go on stage and look, by the way, we also have a token since 3-4 years and we didn't do anything with it. So guys, come on the app. That there's no reason. I think there would be also better places in general to talk about your crypto side than the Comic-Con or Designer Con, because yes, you could, even if you had a utility, you would still miss 95% of the people that are running to Comic-Con, which are not maybe crypto enthusiasts or so. It's probably more like a crypto summit somewhere, something like, I don't know, Bitcoin 2023 at summit at some nice place, Las Vegas or whatever. And then there you would suddenly appear and talk about the Ecomi token, and then get everyone from the crypto side to learn via the Ecomi token what Vivi is doing and how you can access Vivi from the crypto side instead from the fiat side. That's how I would imagine bringing Ecomi on a trade show somehow into business.
I do want to just have a comment here. If we were the head of OUP, would we sell OMI? What I saw when I did check out that supposed wallet was that it was less than 33%, less than a third were actually sold. So if that is potentially Reese's wallet, he's still hodling more than 2/3. Okay, so it's not like he's dumped everything, and I think it was quite a lot of tokens. So
he also sold during the bull run, which is what you're supposed to do. And if you know about crypto cycles, like Rain was saying, that's the time to sell, right before you dump. The macro, doesn't matter what OMI did, the macro would make a dump 90%. Now, the real question is, right, did he use his knowledge to pump it and then dump it, right? I don't know that the answer to that. That would be a trouble. Him selling doesn't bother me at all. That's profit taking. But like I said, I just think that they can avoid all that if they just put protocols in place and say, guys, these are our procedures for when we sell. Like Hodler said, maybe put a bot out and have it sell it incrementally. And then that solves that problem so that there's no, otherwise it's like really bad optics, to say the least.
Yeah, and realize if he had bought that during the last bear market, he's up 20x even on that. So people are like, why is he selling at these lows? They're not lows for him. Yeah. He's still massively in profit on that. And, people have decisions to make. Maybe he's buying a house. Maybe he's got a girlfriend. Life, they have decisions, especially when you're working on a project. I imagine Ecomi pays him, but they're probably not paying him hundreds of thousands of dollars a year right now. And so probably he wanted to make some life expenses from some of the gains he made and spend some of that. Trust me, I've been waiting to buy a nice house patiently. I've been waiting to buy some really nice vehicles, and I'm going to be waiting to this next bull market. And then I'm going to be making some life decisions, which will mean cashing in some more of my gains in order to make some of those life decisions.
Yeah. Maybe he had 95% of his net worth tied up in it and, wanted to move it, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
It still doesn't give him, or he still shouldn't do it the way he's allegedly doing.
Have you guys seen the Foster video? Patient Hodler, have you seen the Foster Hilt video about it? He went through all the transactions and he worked out that he pretty much just dollar cost average sold. It wasn't like he sold huge amounts after one event. It was just all
but there were other sources that were saying, hey, look, you put out an article, the pump comes, and then the sell goes in. So I think nothing of that is really or him selling, as Danny said, is not a problem if you're just taking profits and if you're not in a position where you can create excitement that leads to price increases. The other side is, if you look at the broader picture, as Danny said, there's a bull run to take profits. The problem is when you're having your token without utility and a lot of people that are buying the dip after the dip after the dip have that dump into oblivion, and people sentiment is going sideways, like really south. And you keep selling, you are not creating the impression anymore only that you are taking profits or even manipulating to make money. You are creating the impression in some of the community members that the token is over, that it's done, and that he's trying to save the outcome or the rest of what is there to save by creating more and more exit liquidity, for example. That is the impression that you can have when the entire crypto market is collapsing and Omi has like big red waterfall candles, and people that bought in at 008 or 005 are going to 0005. That can be very scary, I think. So I think that has impact on the entire community if you're selling as a team member.
Yeah. And that happens even in the stock market. You don't like to see a company selling off shares, right? When Elon he dumped $40 billion worth of shares to buy Twitter or whatever. That stuff affects the sentiment and the price, and people don't like that. And companies, when a coin is undervalued, stock, they'll buy up more stocks, and that's seen as a bullish sign. So you see that in the traditional markets as well. At the end of the day, what it comes down to is I guess, proper protocol communication so that optics aren't, what they are now for some members of the community.
Some people are looking for an excuse to be mad too. And it's hard to make it through these crypto winters, right? And it's easy to get distracted on stuff that matters a little bit, but not a lot for the long term. My question is, is Vivi making the right decisions to become one of the top collectibles apps in the future as these digital collectibles go huge? My answer to that is, from what I can see, it seems like hell yes, they are. Okay, are they setting up things so that Ecomi's token has some utility in the somewhat near future? I'm going to use the word near loosely because we don't know how near that is. yes to that too. So am I happy? I'm very happy. Those are the major things I'm looking at. The Reese thing is just kind of like oh, that's interesting. But it's not my focus because it's not the determining factor on if this project is going to be worth a whole lot. It's not even close to the determining factor.
Yeah, fundamentally, it, like you said, it doesn't have any impact on my perception or my interpretation of how they're executing. And there are some people who it seems like they do have a personal vendetta, and they're always in attack mode. And I think that defeats, like, if they are saying things that have truth or value or whatever, and they can shed light on something, I think that's great. But if you're presenting it in a way that is attacking and constantly, and it makes you look like you're vindictive or have malicious intent, then I think that you're you're saying it for the wrong reasons, and it's just, and then you're just repeating yourself constantly. So
it's true. One of our viewers asked what car I'm driving. You don't want to know because you would be shocked at what I drive. I'm cheap, and the reason is cars are depreciating assets. So sometimes when you have a job, you have to drive a certain level of car. In my case, I bought a several-year-old but almost brand new car that had 6,000 miles on it, that had some dents in the top from a hailstorm, which totaled it out. So I was able to get it for about 1/3 of what it was new. And isn't that fitting for my personality? Now, am I going to have a Lamborghini? Well, now that I learned that you can actually, if you buy a nice enough Lamborghini, it will appreciate, the answer is yes. Had I known that before, I might have made a decision to have one sooner. Probably not. With it, it just would have been too expensive versus my overall portfolio for 2021. So in the future, yes, probably a Lamborghini and a Ferrari, and actually a car for every day of the week. It'll be like Monday, Tuesday on the license plate, and people will drive behind me and they'll be like, man, his license plate says Tuesday and it's Tuesday. How crazy is that? And then they'll see like Thursday and they'll be like, it's Thursday, but that's a different car. I'm confused. What's happening here? And I'll just be like,
Damn.
I love it. I love it. And then people will say, oh my gosh, you're using too much resources. And I'll be like, I know. So what? It's great, So that means I'll end up
to get a Porsche.
10 to 12 different cars. So I'll have a really big garage, and that's okay.
That's awesome. I love that idea.
Ooh, I've got a 79 Corvette, and it's actually appreciated in value. Yes. Certain smart car. Porsche, Justin, I'm looking at that too. I do love Porsches. I always have. It would have to be a convertible 4-seater so I could take friends around with it. Because if I'm going to get a Porsche convertible, I want it big enough that I can throw my crew in there with me to drive around and have fun together, because the social side of it will be the fun part of it for me.
Yeah, I actually had a Nissan 180 SX that I sold to pay off my credit card a couple of years ago. I sold it for like $9,000, and it's gone to like 30, 40, maybe even 50,000 now. It's crazy. in like 3 years, the market's gone insane.
The car values right now are out of whack, and so I'm content to still wait.
Yeah, supply
my
chains
wife does drive a nice car, which is paid off, right? So of course she had to have a nice one that's paid off. But me, I'm like, I'm going to save up money and keep it invested.
smart.
We just hit 100 viewers again. Woohoo!
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Let's go.
Having a weekly thing. Yeah. It's wicked.
So for anyone interested, I do have Bumper joining me later tonight. It literally is in an hour and 15 minutes. The CEO of Bumper, which is one of the projects that I think could go 1,000x from here. But I use the word could because they still haven't rolled out their mainnet. They're on track to roll out their mainnet in the next couple months, and is contingent on how well does the mainnet work, how much traction do they get. And but it's one of my favorite altcoins, and the CEO will be joining me, and I've had him on a couple of times. He's extremely articulate. So for those that are interested, follow me on the Crypto Rain channel, and we'll be going live in about an hour and a half. And then after that, for people who are Patreon members, we'll be having a private chat for just the Patreon/Discord members with him, which will be cool. Something new I started doing was when I can get a CEO booked, being able to give my community access that are part of the Discord. You can only get access to the Discord if you join the Patreon, but it unlocks the Discord. And then they can join the chat directly and ask them questions directly, which is something 4 years ago when I was a new investor. I was dying. I was like, how do I ask these guys my questions? And there was just no way. And so few projects even did interviews. So few YouTubers even did interviews, which were always my favorite, but I never got my questions asked. So it was a way that I could help new investors be able to do the things that I wished I could have done when I was brand new.
I have almost 3,000 bump.
What's that?
Yo,
I have almost 3,000 bump.
You're a whale there too.
Awesome.
I don't think that's a whale. It's like $300.
So it's about 8 cents right now. So 3,000 is
Yeah, Australian dollars is $300, I think.
yeah.
But yeah,
It's on my radar. It's on my radar for sure. I've seen you talk about it, and some other.
If that does 100x, that would be like $30,000.
Yeah.
that has a 6 million market cap, right, at the moment. So really small.
It's a really low market cap. Most people aren't aware of it. So most people protect their positions one of two ways right now. With a stop loss, the problem with a stop loss is you get wicked out all the time. So I tried trading leverage for a little bit. I decided the odds weren't as good as just swing trading, that I make way more money swing trading than the trading all the time. But when you are trading and you try to protect your position with a stop loss, what will often happen is, even if you're right and it's going to go up, it'll go down real fast and it will wick you out and it will stop loss you out and then it will take off. And you'll wake up all excited because you'll see the price of whatever is way, way up. And then you look and you'll be like, oh, I got stopped out. And the other way people use protection is through options. But this uses smart contracts to provide better protection so that you can further explore the upsides, but without the downside risk, for a cheaper price than ever before. And it's not insurance. They're doing it in a new way that you have to listen to the way the CEO explains it. It's amazing. And when I read the white paper for this 2 years ago, I was like, I sent it to my friend who's super deep in DeFi. And I was like, are you seeing what I'm seeing in this? Because I couldn't sleep last night. And he's like, holy cow, if they're able to do this, this is going to change not just crypto, but finance for forever. But it's an if. If it works, if it's successful, it will change the world of finance. So realize that if is there. That's why it's definitely a higher risk than Omi, right? So like what people ask me, would you go all in on Bumper? I'd be like, no, the risk is too high. Do I have a huge position in Bumper? Yes. I have a bigger position in Omi. Why? Because I feel like the risk with Omi is lower. But do I have a big position in Bumper? Yes, because the potential rewards, if it goes well, could be astronomical. Its market cap is so low. It's a $6 million market cap right now. So
I might have to dollar cost average into that a little bit more, I think. We've got a question here. Do you guys, anyone know anything about Disney's financial issues?
No, I don't think it'll affect VV.
I don't know.
I don't know how it would so much. In fact, it might make them more bullish on doing more stuff with VV because it's just a revenue source for them.
And we got
They
Crazy
might come
Dan
to VV and see what else can we do? What other kind of utilities? We need to get our name like going well again. Crap. So if anything, it's probably better.
Yeah. Crazy Dan said he has 5 old Toyota 4x4 pickup trucks, but he lives on $1 million farm.
Nice.
Well, that's actually what I want. We want to get 2 acres, make like a food forest. It's gonna be like a, agriculture farm sort of thing that we're gonna live at.
You can use pesticides.
Solar power, batteries.
No pesticides.
No pesticides. Zero pesticides, and rain tanks, and live 80% off the land. That's what we want.
I want a massive compound like that in the future, right? So maybe somewhere in Canada, maybe somewhere in the US, like Wyoming or something, where it's like 7,000 acres with like a big fence around it and everything. So if the zombie apocalypse happens, like we're good. I got massive deer and elk populations, and
So Rain, they have this place near me that's called French Island. It's this little tiny island that's like I can drive near to there in like 25 minutes and take a ferry across. And you can buy 80 acres for like $600,000.
Maybe you and I should buy up half the island in the coming bull run. I'm down with Australia. I love Australia. I haven't been there yet. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos of people going out and exploring like Australia, and like the fishing, because the reef, like all the spear fishing and other things are so cool there. Like, and I like the mentality of the people from Australia. They're like cowboyish and like this adventurous spirit embedded in them. I don't know what's created that culturally, but it's awesome and I love it.
Yeah. Australians definitely like to explore things, like to have fun, like to go and like go into nature. Like for driving and camping is massive here, but like there's only so on that island, Rain. I think about 200 people live there. That's it. So it's
Yeah.
there's a
So
small amount of people.
we could buy like a whole bunch of those 80-acre plots, right? Places, and piece together some big compounds, and then we can get some nice boats to go like deep sea fishing and snorkeling and spear fishing and all kinds of crazy adventures.
We could make make like a little crypto community.
Yeah, run some high speed, somehow get some high speed internet there, right? So that we have massively high speed internet.
We might need to use Elon Musk's satellite. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it's not there yet, but maybe by then, maybe in a year or two it will be.
Yeah. Alrighty. So I want to also shout out your course, Crypto Rain. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so I created a course called Zero to Crypto Hero. And when I came into this space, so I had 20 years investing experience. But when you're new to crypto, you're just new to crypto. And of course, I turned to YouTube hoping somebody with a YouTube channel knew what they were talking about. And most of them were just new. In fact, even still today, most YouTube personalities don't have an investing background. And so they don't look at crypto as an investment, and especially back in 2017, 2018. And I really wish there was some kind of accelerator that could help me go from new to experienced in as fast as possible. But it was the blind leading the blind. And so now that I had 6 years experience plus my 2 decades of real estate investing experience, I was like, I'm going to make a course that accelerates people's learning curve tremendously so that they make less bad decisions and more good decisions, so that not only does it save them far more than it costs with the more good decisions in the bull run, because we're in this amazing window before this upcoming bull run. It's kind of like you're waiting there for massive fishing day, and you're just waiting for the day to open and you to be able to go out there, and you're not sure how much longer before it opens, but it's going to be open. You're going to be catching massive amount of fish, and so it's learning to become a much better fisher, as that's we're waiting for that. And so the course right now, if you go to one of my videos, my recent videos, you can get a code to get half off. It's normally $199.
So I've linked it. I've linked it in the description as well, guys. Perfect. And you've got the code in the description there as well.
I priced it low. I could have charged $1,999 for it, and it still would have sold. And probably I would make about the same amount of money, because people that come in from a money background, they absolutely buy this course. They're actually a little bit concerned how cheap it is, because they're like, oh, maybe it's too cheap and maybe it's not worth the time. I could have priced it there, but then that would price out way too many people, and that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. So make sure you check that out, guys. Patient Hodler, are you doing a stream later today?
Yeah, actually for me that will be tomorrow. It's 1:24 a.m. Of the next day. So for a couple of hours of sleep, and then there will be crypto morning coffee. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for coming on as well. I know it's always late for you, but it's great to have you on here. It's good to have alternative perspectives.
Thanks for having me on here. And I don't know if you saw that, but I have to leave soon. So yeah.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. Well, I usually wrap it up around an hour and a half. So a few more minutes. Danny the Bull, are you doing any streams or videos this week?
Yeah, I've got actually my collectibles coming on tomorrow.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, that's always great. I love talking to him. He's so passionate about just collecting. He's a true collector, and he's so passionate and knowledgeable about that whole industry. So it's always great talking to my collectibles. That's tomorrow. I've got Sleeping Comics lined up, firming up the day. Then I got a couple more. Yeah, can't wait. My collectibles. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Woo!
It's gonna be a lot of fun. And I got a couple more lined up in the next week or so. Should be good ones.
Wow, so you guys are all smashing it with the YouTube. I'm enjoying
it. I'm off for summer now. Mostly I'm at work, but my work schedule right now is a lot lighter. So I have a lot of downtime. Plus my wife's away in Greece. So I'm home alone and I'm bored. So I got some time to.
No kids, no kids, no
my
wife.
son, my daughter went with her. My son stayed home. He's 15. I told him go get a job. He's working 3 days a week.
Oh, nice.
Playing video games the rest of the time.
What's he do? What's his job? What do you get?
He works in a school, basically like helping out with like an after school program, like a camp program.
Oh, cool.
So
Did
he's
you,
working.
do you help him get that? You helped him get the job, or?
Yeah. So he's working about 15 hours a week. He got his first couple paychecks. He spent them on an expensive pair of jeans.
Nice.
It was all good. I didn't give him a hard time because I want him to understand the value of earning your own money and what you can do with it, so that he wants, he has that incentive to work. Otherwise, he's lazy.
Yeah. I think that's super important, and I want my kids to have just a basic job, at least for a few weeks or months, just so they get the idea of the value of money, because it's a hard concept to and then I'll teach them how to make money online instead. So but I want them to have the harder experience, so then they see what it can be like and they appreciate it more.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll just wrap it up and leave any final thoughts. Patient Hodler, I know you got to go. Do you want to have any final thoughts to the viewers of subscribers and what you've got going on and what they should not financial advice, but what do you think they should do?
No, for sure, no financial advice. So probably considering all the Ecomi situation, a little bit of DCA is going on, also incentivized by my viewers. I'm extremely grateful for the 3,000 subs, obviously. Everyone that is here from my viewer base also. Final thought is, as I mentioned in the middle of the stream, skin in the game is good for the learning curve, as long as you're not doing devastating over leveraging or decisions. And I think also with Ecomi and Vivi, that will pay off in any way. Either you will learn a lot or you will make a lot of money, or both. And that is obviously not financial advice, but that's my parting thoughts at 1:30 in the middle of the night. So there was not more to get out of my head now.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Danny the Bull.
Yeah, man, just keep learning, keep building. DCA is the way for me in this bear market. And support everyone's channel. Support my channel. I'm right behind you, Hodler. I'm at 29, 22 subs.
Nice.
I'm like 78,000.
The race is on.
Let's get it.
Keep me to 3K, man. Congrats.
We are going to be in the 3K club for a while now.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to get there. Rain, any final thoughts?
For anyone here, you're at the right time. And so if you're taking the right actions, you are setting yourself up for a massive win in the coming, it might be 6 months, it might be 12 months, might even be 24 months. But taking the right actions now, like this is that golden period before the massive run happens, where we're probably not at the very bottom, that I think is already in, but we're on the upswing. And so it's exciting, and you're going to see how it's going to change. And a bunch of you won't take enough, like later you'll regret that you didn't take more action, and that's okay. It's part of the process. You're going to go through that, but then you'll have fully experienced the full parts of the cycles, and you'll start to get the stuff that I've been talking about with cycles, and it will set you up for one more big cycle to do well. And hopefully after that, your finances are changed for forever.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Rain. I really appreciate that. And we just have one little question here I want to answer. Price prediction, OMI, end of the year. I'm going to stick to my 006 to 008 price prediction, which is about a 10x from here. That's basically what I expect if we get some OMI utility before the end of the year. If not, probably not quite so high. Yeah, thanks so much, guys, for coming on today. I really, really appreciate all your time here. I love having you guys on, having this discussion every week. Make sure you check out Crypto Rain's channel, Danny the Bull's channel, and Patient Hodler's. We'll see you guys next